Hi, this is Chris Chappell from Fast Paddler. We are the exclusive importer of Bracha Sport paddles here in the United States. And today I just wanted to talk a little bit about how to change the grip on one of these Dragon paddle shafts. Bracha makes all their own shafts in-house, which is pretty cool. They do a lot of cool things I can talk about at a different time, but the neat thing is it allows them to control quality, stiffness, and some other cool things with their connections. They also apply this shiny, circular-looking material on top of the carbon, and this is used for ultraviolet protection, UV protection. It also provides some grip. It does get spun on in one direction, so when it's wet, it provides grip in one direction, and the other direction can actually make it even a little slippier because the water will build up and cause a little film. Now, for some people, that can be an issue. For others, it's no big deal. It's really a personal preference thing. But one of the things, Bracha has changed that direction over the years. For a long time, it was like this new shaft where you might be able to hear that. The grip actually is set up so that if you pull this way, it adds resistance. For a few years, they actually swapped it around. This is due to a manufacturing change. I'm not sure the specifics, but it had to do with manufacturing. So this shaft from a few years ago, the grip adds resistance when you push down. So a lot of Dragon paddlers do not like this grip this way, which slides back up when they drive the paddle in, and like this, the older and hence the newer version. So here at Bracha, here at Fast Paddler, I actually specify all our shafts to be this way now, which is the preferred way for paddlers here in the U.S. But globally, you'll still find either version of this, depending on who your distributor is, where you're located. One thing a lot of people do was they'll wrap it with some silicone tape or use some heat shrink. That's a topic for another video. But there are people that want to retain the actual thinness diameter and get additional grip. So one thing you can do, what I'm going to show you in this video, is you can actually wet sand off this UV finish and apply a matte finish clear coat to it. And that'll actually give you some resistance in both directions. When it's dry, it feels a little slippery, but when it's wet, it actually works pretty well. I happen to do this on a couple of my kayak paddles, which works well as my indoor erg paddle. I do still like, though, when I paddle in the ocean, I like to put silicone tape because that's super sticky, and I like that stickiness in the ocean with a lot of varying conditions. So today we're going to show you how to apply that matte finish. Okay, to show you how to apply the matte finish to the Dragon paddle shaft, I'm going to use this shaft. This is a used shaft that actually has the grip in the direction people do not like, which means it grips pushing down and slips coming up. And one thing that will happen too, just as a side note, over time, that edge on here will wear anyway. So if you have a shaft, irregardless of direction, after, I don't know, it depends how much you use it, 4, 5, 6 years, depending on your usage, you'll start to lose that edge on this, so it won't even really make a difference. So this technique I'm going to explain actually helps for older shafts too. So what we're going to do is we are going to, I'll just get a few tools here, show you what I'm going to be using. Masking tape, some paint, and some soapy water. So what we're going to do is we're going to just take some tape and we're going to mask off 8 inches of the shaft. And I'm just using some masking tape on here so that we make a nice clean edge. Then we're going to wet sand this with some 220 grit paper. So here I just got some basic 3M 220 wet dry paper and just some soapy water here. And if you haven't done wet sanding before, the whole idea is the soapy water, it's just dishwashing detergent. The soapy water gives some lubricant as well as helps keep the pores in the sandpaper clog free. If I just started to sand this way, this paper would clog up in like 30 seconds. But by keeping it wet, it helps that dust that would collect on there basically turn into the water, go into the water, and keep a nice clean surface. So we're going to mask off 8 inches and do our wet sanding from that point. So this doesn't have to be perfect. This is just to give us an idea, you know, a nice clean line. 8 inches tends to be about the spot that folks seem to like. So I got a little wrap on that. And I'm just going to put a couple layers of tape on here just to give it a little more of an edge. And if I hit it with the sandpaper, it won't hurt it. This is maybe just being a little too meticulous, but how to do it. So anyway, there's some tape. I just put a little fold on that, make it easier to get off. And now what we're going to do is we're going to sand off that clear finish down to the carbon. We don't have to have all the carbon exposed, but the idea is to make it a smooth surface before we put the matte clear on here. I'm just going to take my 220 paper, fold it like this, get it in the water, and then just start sanding away. And the idea is keep it wet. Every time you put it in the water, it actually rinses off. You can see the little slurry on there, which is the clear coat dust turning into material on the surface. So I like to go around like this and then go both ways. Here again, keep it clean. Now, I'm just going to quickly show you what we've done so far. Just grab a rag. Now, hopefully you can see that in the video, just to compare both sides. You can see where it's not very even because I've been going around in that circular motion, but starting to take off. There you can see it a little better. Take off that outer edge, and an outer layer. And as I mentioned, this does not have to be perfect because when we spray the clear over, it's going to fill it all in and make it flat anyway. So let's keep going. And here again, this isn't rocket science. There's nothing magic about this. If you weren't videoing yourself, you could do this whole job in like 10 minutes. Okay. Just clean that off. See what that looks like. That's almost done. You can see there's still a few spots where you can see some shininess, but that's not even critical. I'm just going to give it just a little more. So you can see with 220 wet sanding, this really didn't take much effort. This little spot down here at the end. And as you'll notice, when I put the clear coat on it, it'll definitely really make the surface uniform again. Okay, take a look at that. Okay, so we finished our wet sanding, and just to give you a quick little look here at the comparison, as you can see, almost all of the UV coating is off. There's a couple spots here just based on the weave that there's no need to sand through the carbon to get those little lines the same texture as this other surface. When we spray the matte finish on there, this will all become a uniform looking finish. So to talk about the finish that I'm using today, this just happens to be Rust-Oleum. I got this at Home Depot or Lowe's. I can't remember. This is matte finish. I like a matte finish. You can use a gloss as well. Matte, I think, gives you a little better grip, but the gloss works as well. But I've been using matte. The trick is you want fast drying, non-yellowing, UV resistant. And almost all of them are that way, but there are a few that are not UV resistant, I noticed when I was looking. Get them on Amazon, all over the place, different types of clear coat. It's also used for, I had some before that was used for actually refurbishing wheels for cars. Clear coat to put over the silver paint or the aluminum on the wheels. That works well too. Next thing we'll do is I'm just going to clean this with some alcohol real quick. So let me just get my rag. This is just a little alcohol. This is just to give it a nice, make sure got anything off it. Okay, that's ready to paint. I'm just going to put some protective plastic on this so I don't get any overspray on the shaft. Okay, now we're ready to apply the clear coat. Now, this does give off some fumes, so I'll need to do this outdoors. I don't have my camera set up for outdoors, so I'm just going to show you how I'm going to do it. And then I'll bring it back down here and show you the final result. So I'm going to do 3 coats, and I'm going to hold it about 10 inches or so from the end. And what I'm going to do is start, if you haven't done a lot of spraying, start before and finish after. So you're going to Start moving the can. You always want the can moving. Spray and let go. Spray and let go. So the trick here is you just want to wet the surface. You don't need to saturate it. You just want to wet it. If you get a drip on there, then it's too much material. So about this far, if that makes sense, about 10 inches. And it'll probably take me 3 or 4 rotations to cover this. And since it's fast drying, one thin coat, let it dry for 10 or 15 minutes, then a second, 10 or 15 minutes, and then a third. So 3 coats has worked really well for me. Okay, here we are in sunny New England in January. As you can see, there's snow on the ground here. It's cold, but we happen to have a little warm break today. It's about 45 degrees, which is really still too cold for doing this. I don't have 100% faith the surface will come out as good as it usually does due to the cold weather, but at least wanted to show you how I apply it. So no rocket science here. As I mentioned, I'm going to start here, keep the can moving about 10 inches away, like that. And that's all for the first coat. So the idea here is just to get the surface wet. You don't need too much. This is fast drying. And on a typical, 70-degree day, normal humidity, this will be able to recoat in 10 minutes. And you can already see how it's kind of got a nice flat surface to it already. So here we are, finished applying the matte spray finish to the shaft. It's all dry. As I mentioned, it dries really quick, this stuff. This is 3 coats. And this is about what I've been using. And just for reference, here is one of my wing paddles that I use in the kayak, surf ski. And here you can see, this is about, this was 3 coats, might have been 4. And this has been on here for probably 3 or 4 months, I think. And it's worked really well for me. I like this feel. It gives me a good grip in both directions when it's wet. Just as a reference. You can also see I just applied some plastic wrap, like saran wrap material on here just to protect the shaft. And now I'll just take this off. Remove the tape. And we are done. And you can see that masking tape just gives you a nice line transition from the original finish to the matte finish. If you have any questions, please give me a call or shoot me an email. Thank you.